What's up? Let's get to it. Verdict is in. Putting it up on the screen. Here we go. All right. Verdict time. Let's do it. I just got back from Dairy Queen, by the way.
Madam Clerk, if you could please publish the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the 9th Judicial Circuit in Orange County, Florida, case number 2020 CF 2603, the state of Florida versus Sarah Boone Verdict. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree as charged in the information. So say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on this 25th day of October 2024. The form has been signed by the foreperson.
Madam Clerk, please poll our jury.
Juror seat number 1, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, it is.
Juror seat number 2, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, it is.
Juror seat number 3, is this your true and correct verdict? Juror seat number 4, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror seat number 5, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror seat number 6, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Members of our jury, again, I want to thank you for your time, your sacrifice, and your attention in this matter. I know that we spent almost 2 weeks together and it was not taken lightly, and I really appreciate the time and the effort and the sacrifice that you put into this case. I want to advise you now of your final instruction. Members, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for your time and your consideration in this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. Although you are at liberty to speak to anyone about your deliberations, you are also at liberty to refuse to speak to anyone. A request to discuss either your verdict or your deliberations may come from those who are simply curious, from those who might seek to find fault with you, from the media, from the attorneys, or elsewhere. It will be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. With that, members of the jury, again, I thank you for your service. I'm going to ask you to return to the deliberation room. I'll be back there shortly with your jury certificates, and thank you.
Go ahead.
Ms. Boone, the jury has spoken in this matter and has found you guilty of murder in the second degree. The court adjudicates you guilty of murder in the second degree. As this is your first felony conviction, you are entitled to a pre-sentencing investigation by the Department of Corrections. Mr. Owens, are you seeking that in this case?
Yes.
Okay. State, I will order the Department of Corrections to prepare the pre-sentencing investigation. State, for the purposes of sentencing, do you anticipate eliciting any testimony from, be it the victim's family?
2 or 3 victim impact statements, sir.
Okay. Mr. Owens, do you plan on presenting any evidence during the course of the sentencing hearing, sir?
Probably some testimony from Dr. Harper.
Okay. All right. How long do you think, State, that you would need?
You mean timing-wise, or are we thinking?
A quantum of time, sir. Yeah, well, normally it takes about 30 days or so. I'm confirming with Anita as to availability. I just want to know from your side of the ledger, how much time? Okay, 15 minutes. How much time do you think you're going to need to produce anything from your side of the ledger, sir? Mr. Owens.
I'd say 30 minutes.
Okay.
30 to 45.
So if we set this for an hour, that would be sufficient.
Pardon me.
Okay.
State agrees.
Is that sufficient, Mr. Owens?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Give me a moment.
For those of you just joining us, yes, about an hour and a half, it seems like, guilty of second-degree murder, the top and highest charge, in absolutely lightning quick verdict. Has to be one of the quickest verdicts for this serious of a charge that we've maybe ever watched on this channel. Quickest verdict I've ever had is multiple hours. I've never had a verdict come back in an hour and a half. In any case, home run by the prosecution team. They've got to feel amazing about it. Nicole, wonder how much closing played into their decision. My guess, this is a complete guess, not a ton. Like I said, I feel like most of the jurors probably had their mind made up before closings. Queen of the North, yes, I like this judge very much. Peter, shall we take bets on how long it will take for Sarah Boone to send her next letter to Judge K? If you'd like to. But cleanse with fire, why didn't you take the plea, Sarah? And I think reports from like Joel, Surviving the Survivor, and people in the courtroom is like the defense knew it was going to be a quick verdict. I'm sorry. Yeah, a quick verdict. They were expecting that. They wanted it. They didn't ask to wait till Monday. They wanted to wait till 10 o'clock. From my perspective, this is incredibly damning, obviously. And I also just going with this was an accident, unintentional, some kind of manslaughter, maybe even involuntary manslaughter would have been the better route for the defense. Turning it into the battered spouse, which I understand why they got there and how they got there, and saying things were intentional. Ooh, that was a big risk, and it really didn't end up paying off. It really didn't end up paying off. Emily, Peter, first super chat. Could you could go to sentencing since they moved so quick this week and you couldn't go. So here's what we can talk about. We can talk about, depending on when sentencing is, it's only one day, but either trying to go to sentencing or trying to go to the Adelson trial in Tallahassee. That's another one that popped into my head that I could easily go to potentially. I will let the people decide. Sucks I wasn't able to go to this. I was looking forward to it and planning on it. Can the defense ask for it to be overturned or whatever because it was such a quick verdict, Linda? I don't think that's an indication that it should get overturned. I think if they have appellate issues, they'll make them. I think they will have appellate issues, especially with not getting that continuance and this being pushed and the issues that came with that limited time, deposing witnesses during trial, changing of opinions. Those are going to be their best appellate arguments. Let's hear what else they say about sentencing. Judge is looking at his calendar here.
We can set this matter for 1:30 in the afternoon for sentencing on December 2. State, is that acceptable? It's a Monday.
I just asked you, but I'm a public worker.
I can move it to later if necessary.
I'm both myself.
Okay, defense. Yes, sir.
That's Monday, December 2 at 1:30?
Yes, sir.
I can do your.
Ma'am, you've been adjudicated guilty. I now remand you into the custody of the Orange County Jail pending sentencing on December 2 at 1:30. State, anything else we need to address?
Definitely state.
Defense. All right, thank you very much. We're off the record.
Folks, that was fast. I did think it was interesting, the little speech that he gave to the gallery, that I figured we could listen to here real quick.
Mr. Henderson's not going to be here.
Okay, all right. Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table wearing the same clothing from this morning. Yes, Mr. Beck.
The judge, they've got her in chains and they've got her in the ankle handcuffs, so she can't go anywhere. I'm just asking, we would like the rights during the jury coming in. I'm asking if there's any way we can take off the handcuffs and the waist chain so that the jury would see it in case there's something wrong with the verdict form or there's an issue, which sometimes happens, but that's my position.
Okay. I've been advised by the sheriff that during the reading of the verdict, due to Ms. Boone's status as an inmate, their leg irons and the cuffs are to be attached.
She's going to stay seated.
That's fine.
Mr. Beck's going to stay seated.
I would ask for it all remain seated and could you remind everybody in the gallery that there should be no emotional reactions.
I was just about to address that, sir. Thank you very much. All right. Members of the jury, my understanding, or members of the gallery, good evening. My understanding is that the jury in this matter has reached a verdict. I don't know what it's going to be until it's read. If you are unable to contain yourself emotionally and you're going to react in any way, be it in joy or in sadness, I'm going to ask you politely to excuse yourself at this time. There cannot be any emotional outbursts when the verdict is read. Does everybody understand that? I see everybody nodding their heads. Okay. State, are we ready to bring in our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, are we ready to bring in our jury?
Yes, Judge.
All right.
Ninth Judicial Circuit and in Orange County.
Clerk, if you could please publish the verdict.
For those of you that didn't watch the first time, we'll listen to it one more time, and then we'll get to some discussion points.
And the Circuit Court of the Ninth Judicial Circuit and in Orange County, Florida, case number 2020 CF 2603, the state of Florida versus Sarah Boone Verdict. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree as charged in the information. So say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on this 25th day of October 2024. The form has been signed by the whole person.
Madam Clerk, please poll our jury.
Jury seat number 1, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, it is.
Jury seat number 2.
So they poll them, and they all say yes. So that's it. Sarah Boone convicted. Second degree murder, looking at 22 and a half years to life. Shar said, why didn't I get your notification? There was no like real plan to this. I just went live when I saw the verdict was live. I ran over. We just got back from Dairy Queen. No chance of them still letting her take the deal. I don't see why they would at this point, right? 22 and a half is the minimum she's going to get at this point. But they obviously could if she waives all of her appellate issues or possible chance at appeal. That's possible. 22 and a half to life is what she's looking at. 22 and a half to life. She passed on 15 years before the trial. It seems like Owens felt like she should have taken that deal and maybe advised her to take that deal. So sometimes that happens and you sit down as a defense attorney and you're like, I told you this. Like, I told you this. I still fought my hardest. I did my best for you, but we really can't be surprised. This is the way I saw it going. 30% of the biased LYK jury, I would not call them biased at all, didn't vote guilty on second degree. Listen, just because somebody gets something wrong does not make them biased. We can't look back and just say, oh, you were wrong, so you must have done it for the wrong reason or something like that. People can see things differently. I don't think it makes somebody biased to think that it wasn't second-degree murder, that it was a lesser charge. What would happen to us during deliberation? Capitulate to pressure? What did convince you? I think we'd all have an open conversation, Sri, and I think you'd be a big part of it, right? I think each person that has a really strong stance of where they are would tell each other what they think and why they think it. And like I said, I was always kind of between second degree and manslaughter. I would have voted for manslaughter personally if I was, king of the court and was just a one-man jury. But if I wasn't, it would be open conversation. I think if, me and my fellow jurors, you and your fellow jurors, whoever the 6 people would have been out of the couple thousand that were here voting, I don't think it's bias. I think it's difference of opinion, which happens a lot. If she was your client, what would your next move be? Definitely start working towards appeal. You have to. Crikey, that was fast. What's the go-to Blizzard? Oreo? No. My go-to Blizzard is the Reese Cup Blizzard. It is so good. It is, dare I say, the best ice cream there is. We've got an Andes like frozen custard. We've got Culver's. We've got Menchie's and Yogurt Mountain and all this stuff. We got a Marble Slab and what's the other stuff called? Cold Stone, all that stuff. A Blizzard, a Dairy Queen Reese's Blizzard is my favorite ice cream, period, and I don't feel bad saying it. I think that's like saying a McDonald's hamburger is your favorite hamburger, but still, I still feel the way that I feel. Pre-sentencing investigation is just where they do a lot of background. They pull in research documents, letters. They do a full investigation and give a recommendation as to what your sentence should be. They can interview the defendant, interview victims or victims' families, things like that. I mean biased because we know more. So bias to me, and maybe we all talk about bias. Let me look up what the definition of bias is. Just like dictionary.com. Prejudice in favor or against one thing, person, or group compared with another, usually in a way considered to be unfair. Yeah, that's how I see bias. I see bias as a negative thing, as a bad thing. We too did DQ for my son's birthday. Bravo. What's your go-to, Crystal B? I enjoy how forcefully the male juror said yes. Wouldn't even let him finish asking. I noticed that too. Get the Reese Pie Cup Blizzard. It's even better. I don't know if I like Reese Pie. I love Reese Cups. I love Reese Cups. Peter, how long does an appeal usually take? If she wins the appeal, has she served, say, 5 years? So a total of 10. Can they just dismiss the charges? They could work out some kind of a deal potentially, but appeals can take years. Every appeal is kind of different, but it can take years. So can we make it up to us on Koberger? Oh boy, Don, I don't think I can commit to that. I don't think I can quite commit to that. It was hard enough for me to try to get away one day in Orlando. Tallahassee's doable. Orlando's doable. If there's something in Sarasota, it's doable. We will make something happen, I promise. Azam, are there any pleas after verdicts? Yes. Sometimes it does happen. It is unusual, but sometimes it does. Oh, Owens is speaking outside of court. Let's get to it. I still have it up. Is it on the Law and Crime stream? I don't see it here. All right, let's see. Kelsey, can you see if you can find that? and send me that link. If anybody has it, send it to me on Twitter or Instagram DMs, somewhere like that. I will just check and see if it is on like Court TV or anything. None of this stuff is still live. So all right. So I'll wait for Kelsey or John to send that to me. Owens just annoys me. Listen, a lot of attorneys, some people like their personality, some people don't. I'm sure there's some jurors that hated my personality, some that like them. It's just kind of how it is. Fox 35. All right, let me look up Fox 35. All right, got it. Let me get to the beginning. All right, here we go, folks. Good job by you. Let's hear what Mr. Owens has to say.
You're watching James Owens speaking with reporters. Let's listen in.
In shock. She said she would call me tomorrow morning, so we'll talk some more after she's had some time to think about it. I've had some time to think about it, but, we're obviously really disappointed. We did the best that we could, in the time that we had to prepare. Sarah really liked the team, and we all got along with the 3 lawyers and the other 2 girls that have helped the other lawyer, 4 lawyers working on the case. And Sarah was, as you know, really happy with us. And, we had some disagreements about how the case should proceed. And Sarah, is opinionated, and some of the things we considered, some not. But ultimately, I think she was happy with the defense. It just didn't go our way. As you know, these trials, a murder charge is a difficult case to beat. And there was some strong evidence that
Tend to agree.
the state used, obviously, and we just, for whatever reason, the jury didn't consider some of the things that we felt like should have potentially been defenses, the justifiable use of force under the battered spouse syndrome. But for whatever reason, we respect the jury's decision. They've been here for 2 weeks, took us 4 days to pick the jury. And so I'm sure they did the very best that they could under the circumstances.
Was it her decision to not take the plea deal? Or you think she regrets it now?
Careful.
I don't
Be very careful.
think she would have taken anything. I think she wanted, some clients, they want their day in court. And I don't believe she would have taken anything.
Like, instead of saying that, okay, and I don't want to be overly critical, I probably would have said she believes she's innocent. She wasn't going to take a plea deal because she absolutely believes she's innocent, not she wanted her day in court. That could have a lot. I feel like Twitter might go a little wild with that comment, that she wanted her day in court.
I felt like the state should have probably negotiated a little bit more, but they were firm on where they were, and Sarah was firm.
I mean, saying that now in hindsight, it's like maybe they shouldn't have negotiated at all since they got an hour and a half, guilty verdict. But I agree with him that when you're seeking justice and the state should make a good deal, I think that was a fair offer, but they probably could have come down from the max on manslaughter, like 13 years, something like that. So he's saying state should have come down anymore, but he's also saying his client wouldn't have taken anything. So it doesn't seem like it was ever going to get done.
Firm on where she was. I just think, she was convinced in her mind that that she felt like, I did, obviously.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Owens. It's late. Okay. So things are going to go a little off the rails. I did not say my favorite burger was McDonald's. I said, people probably think me saying the best ice cream is Dairy Queen is like somebody saying my favorite burger is McDonald's. So I apologize if that went rogue there. Pumpkin pie blizzard for the win. That's what my daughter got tonight. The pumpkin pie blizzard. Hawaiian blizzard. I've never, what is that? Pineapple and something, I assume? Pineapple and ham? That's Hawaiian pizza, right? Interesting. Sri said, I see in psychology bias, neither plus or minus. Okay, so that's good. See, we learn from each other, and we see the same word can mean different things, which is why words and definitions are very important. The judge decides the sentence. Nikki, truly, even if he thinks she's full of it, does he have to do the whole speech and pretend he was shocked?
Felt like she didn't intend to kill George, and that this was just a circumstance because they were both intoxicated. Things happened that, it was just really unintentional act. So I think she felt bad.
That sounds different than your defense, right? That sounds a little bit different than the defense you went with. I think that's the better story. I think a jury may have bought this was all an accident and it should have been some lower level crime.
About any kind of a murder conviction or pleading to any kind of a murder, that she was somehow criminally responsible for George's death. And I think that's where her mindset was. And, I think she would have gone to trial even without lawyers. She was ready to go to trial pro se. I think she was happy we came in. We worked as hard as we could. We had about 45 days to get ready, and we did it all the way we could. So I think she feels good about our efforts. We put everything out on the table, just like any other contest. You do the very best you can, and then you have to accept, the decision by the jury. We respect the jury and appreciate.
I do appreciate that, right? He's not being a jerk. He's just answering the questions. He's in a tough spot, right? But eat more paint likes Owens, it seems. That's good. Got some fans in here. Make it up with the O.J. Simpson trial recap. Octavius, you're relentless, my man. You're relentless. Maria, pineapple, banana, and coconut. That sounds good, but not like anything I'd ever order. I mean, I just couldn't pass up a Reese peanut butter cup blizzard for that myself.
Their time and attention on the case.
Will you be representing her on her appeal?
No, I'll be representing her.
Quick no there.
At her sentencing, but not the appeal. I think she would qualify since she's indigent for court-appointed appellate counsel. And those guys, that's all they do is appellate work. And those are probably the best lawyers to handle something like that. But we're, as I said, really disappointed. Sarah is kind of in shock. But, we respect the jury's decision. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
So not a lot there, except that it sounds like he thinks it was unintentional. Jay, vote for Adelson hearing. Thanks. By the way, I wonder how Owens would have handled Charlie's case. I think he would have spun a different story for that jury. Rod said, Owens did pretty well, don't you think? For what he had, I think he did fine. Yeah, I think he did fine. I don't think he did a bad job. I think with personalities like him, which if you haven't noticed yet, a lot of criminal defense attorneys have personalities that some jurors really like and some jurors really don't. You can say that about a lot of the criminal defense attorneys that we've watched. Please just once try Butterfinger Blizzard. Okay. So Marsha, number one, this is Maverick's usual order. My son, he went rogue and got like a normal vanilla cone today against my advice. And he was like, yeah, Blizzard's better, Dad. Like, always listen to your dad. Number one. Number two, love Butterfinger, but they get stuck in my teeth. So it's so annoying. So I never order it or eat Butterfinger. Halloween's coming up. We got to talk about favorite candy at some point. I hope she won't go through 8 appellate lawyers. I don't think she will, but she will definitely exercise her right to appeal, would be my guess. Chick-fil-A banana pudding shake is amazing. My wife would agree with that. I think she will start writing the judge again. I don't think so, and I think the judge could pretty much ignore it at this point. What happens when she fires her appellate lawyer? Everybody's on the same wavelength here. What decisions or issues could she appeal? Him removing her right to counsel, or saying that she forfeited her right to counsel, not giving her new lawyers a continuance, making them do depositions in the middle of trial, during trial, in open court, experts changing opinions, the expert opining on whether or not she was in imminent fear of serious bodily harm at the time. That's why I'm glad Cacciatore didn't specifically do it. You had enough evidence. Don't take the chance. Don't highlight the mistake. I think they minimized it as the state. They didn't go into it. They didn't repeat it. So I did like that because that would have made it worse as well. Do you think the other attorney walked away because Sarah Boone was firm on this defense? I honestly have no idea. But if they did, I would not respect that. Like, if she says that she is a battered spouse and the experts say she is a battered spouse, then I don't think it's unethical to put on that defense. Now, if she was going to lie and told them she was going to lie about something, then obviously that's a problem. But criminal defense attorneys aren't afraid to go lose a trial. So if they just thought they were going to lose or it was a losing battle, I don't think they would have stepped away for that. You have to try the Dairy Queen frozen hot chocolate. That sounds good. Have you ever thought about over breaking down old Menendez trials? No, it seems like a lot. Seems like a lot. Pumpkin spice Reese's. That sounds kind of good. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for this super sticker. Let me see what else we got here. Why was she shocked? I mean, listen, if she truly believes she was a battered spouse, seems like there was an abusive relationship. Maybe she talked herself into it and she started to believe her lawyer's arguments that she was a battered spouse. There you go. She lied, Peter. Come on. I agree she lied. She admitted that she lied. Every time Owen says girls, I cringe. I kind of do too. And that's from somebody who has said girls in the past by mistake and learning, you know, justice for George. Yeah, clearly now everybody that, you know, said I would have advised her taking the plea deal looks good. I mean, I thought it was the right decision as well, but it's tough. It's tough.
And Dave.
Oh, press conference is continuing. So let's go back. Now I think it's the elected state attorney.
Let's listen in.
Yeah, it's my big head fitting in all these lenses. That's what we're saying. Okay. All right. Everybody ready?
Yes.
All right. All right. So today, as many of you know, Sarah Boone was convicted of second-degree murder of her boyfriend, Jorge Torres Jr. You know, these events stem from an incident from February 23rd of 2020, where she zipped her boyfriend up in a suitcase in what she claimed to be a game of hide and seek. And two videos were introduced from her where he was begging for his life, and a horrific turn of events. And she didn't try to let him out. She didn't do anything to help him. She just went upstairs and went to sleep. And so this is a very horrific homicide. Nobody really should have to endure this type of struggle and fight for their lives and have to die alone, begging for their last breath inside of a suitcase like this. And
before we get to his next comment, is there a son of Sam law in Florida? Yes. Did Owens really gain anything by defending her? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. We'll have to ask him one day. Deb, do you think an appeal will have any chance? Any chance? Yes. I wouldn't say it's a strong chance, but I think it has a chance.
The jury did amazing work. I'm thankful for our chief of homicide, Will J., and our assistant state attorney, Dave Cacciatore.
They did a good job. Jay came in there as, I think, kind of the hammer, the stern one, the prepared one, really experienced. He's the chief of that division. I really liked Cacciatore. I really thought Cacciatore did a good job too. Jay's second close wasn't my favorite. And the cross of Sarah Boone wasn't my favorite. But besides that, I think he did a really good job, was really well prepared, and knew this case backwards and forward. And somebody's kind of got to hold the defense's feet to the fire. And I think that was mostly him.
Amazing work. Some of you caught me in the courtyard. I was like, I get briefings about it every single day about what they've been doing. But we're excited that they were able to bring this home with a victory because today justice was served with the conviction of Sarah Boone for this very horrific homicide that occurred. And so if you have any questions, I'm going to turn it over to them.
So strong. Oops, sorry.
Oh my gosh. Now I know what you guys feel like sometimes when you say my mic squeaks out like that. Paula, does the forfeiture of court-appointed counsel apply to the appeals process, or does she get a clean slate? She'll get an appellate attorney, I'm pretty sure. Marie, do you think the accidental offense would have gotten a not guilty? No, but I think it would have been, I think it's possible it would have got her a lesser included.
Not by
Correct.
it. The argument was self-defense and better stuff.
Correct. And so we're going to turn over to Will and Dave to ask all specific questions as to all the defenses, because they did all the great work, so they deserve all the credit.
Step up, yeah, a little bit. Thank you. Yeah, so like the defense didn't speak about that. I know the jury obviously did not buy that. They came down with us kind of in the situation.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, how does that make you feel? Did you get a chance to speak to the family?
Yes, we're very happy to gain some closure for the Torres family and some justice for George.
Strong closing arguments from the both of you today. What do you think, like she said, this case means for the family and getting justice for George Torres?
Yeah, I noticed Mr. J's tie as well. I was like, okay, sir, that's a decision.
I think after 4.5 years and the numerous delays, I think they were finally just happy to see this case go to trial and be able to put this one in the books.
What do you think the appropriate sentence should be?
We'll reserve comment to the sentencing hearing.
Do you expect the verdict to come back that quickly? I think it was an hour and 20-something minutes, very fast.
We should never have expectations.
Jay is such a, you could tell his personality. He's like, we're not going to talk about sentencing. Never have expectations. He's like, no emotion, business as usual. Act like you've been here before. I'm strictly business, baby, and I'm keeping it all on business. That's Mr. J. He's not going to gloat. He's not going to float around like he's some superstar. You got to respect that.
Think about the case law with respect to Martinez. I know there was a strongly worded letter you all signaled you will be sending. Is that right for judicial review higher up?
Can't really talk about future legal arguments.
Cacciatore's like, yeah, I deal with this every day. Like, do you hear this? This is so funny. It's like, why give an interview if these are your answers?
Between you and James Owens, there's obviously moments of tension and then also moments of levity. Was this different than a typical battle that you go into?
I wouldn't say it was different than a different relationship than with most defense attorneys.
What would you say to the jurors who were here for about 2 weeks on this case? It was a long jury selection and then, of course, a lot of evidence to look at and all of that. What would you want to say to them?
Just thank them for their service.
Will, did you know that it was George Torres' mother who broke down in court today, and that was the reason for the bit of an outburst?
I was made aware afterwards. It happens in these cases.
Do you have a chance to talk to her and say something?
I've not yet.
I know you did.
I spoke to her along with the rest of the Torres family after the verdict. And just listen to them.
A strong rebuttal yesterday from you guys. What do you think that evidence showed the jurors and meant for this case?
Not going to really talk about the evidence.
Final question from me is, are you stunned that she's not taking
I mean, listen, this is his chance. He could have bragged. He could have been a jerk, and he wasn't, right? I gotta be honest. I don't know why this interview is making me respect him even more. I don't know why, right? But it just, I feel like it. I'm like, this guy, he does what he thinks is right. He's not doing it for the cameras. He's not doing it for the show. You got to respect that. Did you hear Jay say he should have charged less, was outside of the statute of limitations? So no, he was saying he would have also charged a lower felony of aggravated battery in order to get a certain jury instruction, but he couldn't because it was after the statute of limitations when he found out about the bat stuff. That was a separate additional crime he would have charged, not lesser than this, if that's what you're referencing. Ben, might have asked you this already, but how much time do you think that she will serve? Gosh, I don't know. I don't think life. I don't think life, but I also don't think 22.5 years. Somewhere in between. That's not that great of an answer, but that's where I'm leaning at this point. I'm not usually great at picking sentences.
It's not for us to say.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We got here for a long time.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for covering the case.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, there we heard.
That was really interesting. Jen said Jay reminds me of Coach Belichick. I would agree with that. All right. We've done a lot, folks. We've done a lot in the Sarah Boone world. But I got to run now. It's 9:30. I'm going to go hang for a little bit longer with the kids, finish our movie, let them stay up late, finish my Dairy Queen. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Thank you for coming, for hanging out, for watching this trial. You guys will let me know what's next. We've got some stuff already on the docket, but one is in the books. I'm sure we'll keep following it for at least sentencing. I've enjoyed talking about this case, learning with you guys. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, your questions, your opinions, your votes on polls, what you think about the trial and how you think it's going. I learned so much when we talked to you guys about it as potential jurors. Hopefully you learned something too. But hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. That's all we got. Till next time, I'm officially out of here for the last time. Not really the last time. One of the last times on Sarah Boone. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit the thumbs up and share with your friends who may be interested here on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And don't forget to check out the Lawyer You Know podcast with new seasons dropping every quarter. If you have a case you want to talk to us about, if it's a personal injury case, wrongful death, catastrophic injury, car accident, or slip and fall case, please email us at lawyeryouknow@gmail.com. And of course, all these links I just mentioned are included in the description below on this episode and every episode. So until next time, this is Peter Tragos, the Lawyer You Know.